AITA for banning my husband's sister from my house until she uses the names of my twins. I, 38F, am married with 2 children. Twins Amy and Nina, 6F. We live in the same town as most of his families in the house I inherited from my grandfather. It is the biggest house in the family, so we often host family gatherings. My husband's youngest sister Jane, 31F, has been traveling for work ever since her early 20s. Mid-2022 she moved in with her fiancé about half-hour drive away from us. After that Jane shows up regularly at family gatherings and rebuilds relationships with her family members. The only thing she never bothers to do is address my daughters by their names. Amy and Nina are identical twins. I understand when people refer to them as the twins, but I think it is important that their individuality is respected. I always tell family and friends that now that they are 6 years old it is important for them to have their own identity, and if possible please treat them as individual rather than a pair or a unit. My girls have different interests and hair, dressing styles, so it is not hard to tell them apart. Jane always insists on calling the girls the twins, and makes no effort to distinguish them. I asked her many times to treat them as individuals, like her other nieces and nephews. And Jane would say okay and then keep doing the same thing. Last Christmas Amy made paper cranes, and Nina painted flower pictures as their Christmas gifts to everyone in the family. They signed their names and individually handed the gift to everyone. Jane's fiancé had to work this year and did not join us, so after brunch she video called him in the living room while the rest of us did our things nearby. Her fiancé saw the crane in her hand and asked where she got it, and Jane said, "Oh, one of the twins gave it to me for Christmas." The other twin drew some flowers. I felt that this was a disrespect, as my girls put a lot of effort into the gifts and deserved to have their private dedication recognized. When everyone left, I told Jane I expected her to call my girls Amy and Nina from now on and to treat them like individual and know their differences. Jane said that she won't bother as my girls are too young. So I told her she is banned from my house until she learns how to address my girls by their names. Jane just stomped off. My husband agreed with me on this. A few days ago my mill called to plan my husband's birthday in early February. I told her we could have the party at my house like usual, but Jane would not be invited. My mill was alarmed and asked why, and when she learned of what happened she was mad at Jane. Jane called me a few hours ago calling me off for making a big deal out of something insignificant. She said my girls would be known as the twins whether I like it or not, and once they get older, people will recognize them as individuals, but not now when they're young and just another couple of girls. She said she deserves to be with her family for her brother's birthday and I need to let it go. AITA? NTA. As the mother of identical twin girls, who are now adults, I was very intentional about clearly treating them as individuals while still enjoying the uniqueness of being twins. Creating an environment where they are treated as 2 separate humans, not a unit, is incredibly important. They have commented more than once how much they appreciated this growing up. Stick to your guns on this. NTA. Your girls deserve to be individuals and not have their identities smushed into a collective single. She is dehumanizing your babies by doing this. NTA. Protect your babies. There is absolutely nothing wrong with forcing someone to undergo the consequences of their actions. Hugs to you and your family. Give Nina and Amy forehead kisses from Reddit. Purple heart. NTA. At 6? ? That's insane. I could see it while they're babies, but she's taken it way too far. As a twin. YNTA. My family always treated us like we were one person and not 2. I think you should stand your ground. Person shrugging. NTA. Maybe address Jane as ex's fiancé instead of using her name. NTA. This isn't a case of accidental slip-ups. She is actively choosing not to learn the difference between them because it's too much effort. Yet she bothers for other kids? Yeah, nah. Your husband's sister can deal with the consequences of her own behavior. I also second only referring to her as your husband's sister from now on. If your kids aren't worthy of name, neither is she. NTA. It sucks to be identified as only a relationship with another party versus your own unique identity. This is their family, you do not dress them alike. I'm assuming their hair is cut differently given you referenced it. It sounds like they do not present themselves as twins, so it's pretty darn rude and ballsy of Jane to think glossing over their names and only identifying them as the twins is okay. This is your home and you are within your right to do this. That said, you might be going about this wrong. And it sounds like you can get your mill and your husband's family on your team here to fix Jane's attitude. From heretofore, Jane is only known as MIL's youngest daughter. Never a name. Just MIL's youngest daughter. Or your husband's name's sister. You will make the point ABUNDENTLY clear to her if you guys handle it this way, because Jane will get darn sick of being Nana's youngest daughter, or Floyd's youngest sister, without a name. Get the girls in on it too. No more Auntie Jane, just Nana's youngest daughter. NTA. I currently have a 6-year-old and she 100% notices how people talk about her, how people address her, etc. Your twins will notice how Jane addresses them. Jane could be an adult and treat the girls with the respect that they deserve, but she decided she can't be bothered, so she can stay home. NTA. Stick up for your daughters. You're not being unreasonable at all. She does not get to decide when they're old enough to be recognized as individuals. Nina and Amy may or may not realize how you're fighting their corner for them right now, but they definitely will one day. And it is so very critically important. You're teaching them now how they should or should not accept being treated. You're setting the precedent now that they are significant and worthy and should not accept dismissive and disrespectful behavior just because they're twins or young or female or whatever label someone tries to put on them and reduce them to. That being said, I must say my daughter is best friends with a set of identical twin sisters, and I could never ever tell them apart when they were younger. Like until high school age. They had similar hair and dressed in similar styles. I tried to make it a point every time to secretly see who was who and take note, like, okay, pink shirt is Maggie and the denim dress is Maddie, and then use their names a whole lot. Also, when they were younger, I'd set out snacks and drinks after school at the table, and I'd use disposable Solo cups and write all 3 girls' names on their cups with a Sharpie, and then they'd sit where their cup was. So then I'd know who was who again, and at least for that day I was sure. Believe me, I made it a point to never call them the twins, and I never said anything like, oh, whoever you are, or thing 1 and thing 2 inches, or any other cringy thing that people think is cute, but it's no different than calling them the twins. When I wasn't sure who was who in any moment, Elle at least called them honey or sweetie, which I'm known to call everyone by often. Twin or not, your sister-in-law could make an effort too. NTA. If their family isn't going to make the effort, who will? As someone who is a twin and was constantly referred to as the twins growing up, NTA. I had so much trouble with finding my own identity when I finished high school, especially. My family never referring to me as my own person was the main part of why I struggled with this. These girls need to be given the space to form their own identities. I hate to say, But still refusing to even use their names can very much make the girls feel they need to have a shared identity through their life. The sooner you nip this, the better. As a twin, I thank you so much for wanting these girls to have their own identity. It's already hard enough having to share everything. They don't need more pushed on them. This is a strange hill for her to die on when she, I assume, can tell them apart and has no reason not to treat them like individuals. NTA, let her have her hill and don't worry about it. My nieces are identical twins. And although it was difficult to tell them apart when they were young, I always called them by their individual names as they are individual people. Your Sil is the definition of lazy. Just have the girls. And you. Call her the aunt for some malicious compliance. See how she likes it. NTA. NTA, it's the same as someone referring to any child as the child. It's disturbing. Can the sister not physically tell them apart? I wonder if the sister doesn't know which one is which and is doing this to cover up for the fact she doesn't know which one is which, so she doesn't look uninvolved. You should make her some flashcards with stats the next time you see her. Be real petty with it. Like, since I know you struggle with telling Amy and Nina apart since you are never around, I made you these to help. Have things like, Amy is wearing the green shirt, Nina is wearing the blue shirt, etc. NTA. Edit for clarity. I was suggesting op should be petty to the sister and imply that the sister can't tell them apart because she is never around to get to know them. NTA, as an identical twin who is now an adult, IT absolutely matters. Imagine you just called her your youngest sister-in-law all the time and never used her name. She'd be raging. NTA. NTA. They are not 6 months old. They are 6 years old. My 6-year-old and the ones before her have all had their own ideas by then and did not like being misidentified. Mine are feral and had zero compunction about calling out assholes like Jane. Tell the girls they can call Jane Aunt Jack, short for jackass. Grown identical twin here. You are NTA. Say their names. Let them build their own identities and be people, as well as sisters and twins. Edited to add. I have an aunt and uncle who relied on their 3 children, older than my sister and I, to cue them to which twin was which. My mom actually forbid people from calling us the twins, so we got the girls a lot instead. The twins was rare. NTA. Twin here. My mom's a twin too. We are individuals.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.